Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon, Paul, and Logan are broadcasting the Breakdown Podcast live using their telepathic powers. My name is Brandon Miracle, broadcasting live from the Break Room Arcade. If you look south of me in the video, you'll see the beautiful face of Paul Anderson, broadcasting live from the Break Room Clubhouse. You'll see a new view of that if you take a look. And if you look to my right in the video version, you'll see the beautiful face of Logan Welliver, focusing his energy right now to make sure this podcast stays live. Welcome to the Breakdown Podcast.
It makes my voice quality better. It makes my voice quality better. Actually, no. I have a new microphone.
Oh,
that's
boy.
Why it sounds so good.
You and Paul have the same looking microphone.
Twinsies. It's good to have. Good to have.
So today on the Breakdown Podcast, we'll be talking about Persona 5. Paul, you finished that this week, finally.
Mm-hmm. Finally.
We'll be talking about, I saw Ready Player One, and the big news, well, it's not really news, but the big topic of the day is the ARMS tournament, which will be taking place tomorrow. We're going to speculate whether or not we'll see an ARMS character reveal trailer this week. Thank you for the hype in the comments. We love you too. So let's just break it down, boys. I saw Ready Player One yesterday. And
how did it make you feel?
A lot of ways, but most of all, I had a good time. I thought it was a fun movie. A lot of the internet seems to disagree with me. Your boy in the comments, welcome to the show.
I mean, that's a normal thing, though, for us sometimes, right?
Well, we had that problem with The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, a lot of people are talking about Ready Player One and saying that it's a bad movie because it's full of references. They didn't say that about Wreck-It Ralph. There's a lot of references in Ready Player One. I don't think any of them are necessarily distasteful. And they're not like front-loading these references. They're not like, hey, here's reference the movie. They advertise it that way, but the references, for the most part, take a back seat in the film up until the third act, where they get used quite a bit. One of the biggest controversial ones was the use of the Iron Giant, because, you know, in the Iron Giant's movie, he's like, you know, I'm not violent, I don't want to fight people, and he was like a symbol of love and compassion in that film. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, Iron Giant is used as a big Battleborg. Some people did not take too kindly to that, but hear me out. And a lot of people have made this argument, but the thing is, it's not the Iron Giant. It is a player who thinks the Iron Giant is cool and is fantasizing about being the Iron Giant and beating up bad guys. I don't see the harm in that, personally.
I mean, this movie, it takes place in the future, so it only, like, to me, it makes sense without seeing it, that in the future, you know, people aren't going to necessarily, they're going to reference the past, but they're not always going to know what it means or like how it was originally.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to know about the Iron Giant, well, now you've got some exposure to it. You can go watch the movie and find out what the Iron Giant's all about. I don't see the harm in that.
No.
There are some references that are pretty obscure. I mean, there's a lot of them in the movie. One of them that I've heard a lot of negativity surrounding was in the second act of the movie. I'm not really going to give you any context, but I will say that they do a pretty substantial reference to The Shining. And it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, but apparently I might be alone in that. The CG, I know, like me personally, I'm a big practical effects guy. But I thought the CG in this movie was astounding. I saw it using my Movie Pass, so I saw the standard edition. About 10 minutes into the movie, I regretted not seeing it in 3D. That's how much is going on from a visual standpoint in the movie. So if you're like really into Ready Player One, I'd probably suggest seeing that in 3D, because they play with it a whole lot in this movie. You spend a lot of time in that CG world, and obviously animation is going to serve much better for 3D.
Right.
And they do it pretty dang well. I know there's some differences from the book. I personally haven't read the book, so I can't comment on that. Has anyone here read the book?
I own the book.
I have not.
So you know what it looks like.
Yeah. It's like 600 pages, though, so there was no way I was actually going to get through it before it was time to go see the movie. So I figured I'd save myself the movie, go in just ready to enjoy it, and then read the book later, and then ruin the movie.
Here's my recommendation. Go into the movie with this mindset. You're going to see some fun action, absolutely no worthy character development. It falls seriously short in that department. And just go for the ride. Bask in the references.
Like a fun movie.
It's fun. That's the thing.
Here's something that I read today about it that it made me stop because I just felt like the point the person was making was just stupid. They're
What'd
like,
they say?
What? Why did the references stop at 2018? Wasn't there culture after that point? I'm like, what? What kind of point are you trying to make?
The three leads are using avatars that are completely original. So who says maybe they aren't something that happens in the future? That's such a... Oh my gosh.
It astounded me because I was just like, wait, did this person not really think about what they were saying?
Apparently not. Say that again. Slowly.
It could have been full of references to, time period outside of 2018, and you just wouldn't have known it.
As a Nintendo fan, you might be a little disappointed going to this movie. There's not a lot of Nintendo representation there. That's probably to be expected, quite honestly. There are a couple in there. Mario Kart is name dropped. There's a Donkey Kong arcade machine, and I saw a Legend of Zelda. I want to say it was a Link to the Past poster on a wall. Nintendo, however, did not get credited in the credits, unlike all the other companies involved. So I don't really know what's going on there. Again, I think it's a fun watch. At least see it once to make up your own mind, but don't go in it expecting the world. Go in it expecting to just a couple hours of fun. That's my experience with Red Player One.
My base mindset with a lot of things is just go in with the mindset that you're going to enjoy it, and then enjoy it. That's the only thing stopping you. Go in ready to enjoy it.
I think that happens with me for a lot of movies. Is I got to this point where I started watching a lot of more artsy, serious films, and those are easy to say, wow, they did a lot of great things here, and here. And some of these movies that come out, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't watch that. I heard it's a bad movie, which I think is a really, really poor mindset to be in, because it really robs you of experiences you might otherwise enjoy, right? So a movie like this, a movie like Game Night, a movie like I don't know. There's numerous movies that people are like, oh,
Jumanji.
It's not a critical darling. Yeah, it's not a critical darling, so why did you go see it? Just stop being such a critic and go see if you can enjoy yourself.
I've experienced
because I enjoy movies.
I've experienced this a lot in my upbringing. One, being a Nintendo fan. Try going to high school and being a Nintendo fan. It's not fun. And then music. There's a lot of elitism when it comes to, this reception to media as an art. If you like what you like it, and who cares? I mean,
right.
It's there for someone, and someone's going to enjoy it. And if they do, just let them.
Absolutely. And you mentioned music, and that's something that, I've had to be aware of, because there's a difference between just not liking something and then putting something off because somebody else likes it, right? So you get pop music, right? And so for the longest time I was like, ew, pop music because everyone listens to it. Well, that doesn't mean it's bad. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, I like some popular stuff because I think it's really, really good. I'm a big fan of Bruno Mars. I think he's super groovy. I mean, he's one of the biggest artists on the planet. And also, if somebody else likes it, I don't have to tell them that they're wrong or again, be super elitist about it. They can enjoy it. Awesome. I'm not gonna go out because maybe I have listened to it and I didn't enjoy it. It's okay to disagree, but you also don't have to be a butt about it.
I feel like before you're able to say that you don't like something or it's stupid, you should at least watch it beginning to end. Because there might be something in between those 2 points that will actually get your attention, get you into it.
Right.
I find that a lot, which is why I try and I wait to form an opinion until I get done, or at least I try to. You know, no one's perfect, but
Right.
We have some reciprocation in the comments as far as music elitism from John, and you know, everyone has, you know, at least done that at some point in their life. We're all growing up. We all realize that there's room for everything on this planet. That's why it's all here to begin with. So like what you like. Don't care if other people don't like it, and don't care if they tell you you're wrong. If you like it, that's good for you, and that should be what it's about. And with that, we can move on to the next thing. Logan, you watched Final Space.
I did. I watched Final Space, all 6 episodes that are out currently.
I also watched the 6th episode, which was not out last week.
And I finished the 6th episode before you did.
You did, actually.
I was like, oh, Brandon, have you watched this? Have you watched this yet, Brandon? It was pretty steep. I don't necessarily want to spoil anything.
Please don't.
Hopefully Paul hopefully he can watch it sooner than later.
I'm gonna make an attempt before
about
next week that I will try and sit down and catch up so I can talk to you guys about it.
Then we can just talk about an episode a week.
We can get to that point. There's only a couple episodes left. I think we got 4 left for the end of the season.
Yep.
Apparently, John was at the Nashville premiere.
Oh,
that would have been really exciting.
I saw some. Nice. I saw, I think, a YouTube video of that. It was like inside of a giant mooncake, like blow up, like tent. That's so awesome. You know, I think I've even seen like pictures of you, John, like in the soda parlor. I've always wanted to go. Olin's a great guy. If you haven't like checked out any of his content, check him out on his YouTube channel. You can check out his legacy content on the Balloon Shop YouTube channel. I've been watching some of that stuff. Derek, it's pretty great. I also found out like he did a teaser for like the Lions Blaze cartoon, which I thought was just like a standalone. This is a short. We're not actually doing this. They're actually doing it. The Lions Blaze is going to be a real thing.
Ooh, that makes me so happy.
The Lions Blaze, probably for you too, Paul, is like my favorite like Olin thing that he's ever done.
I think it might be mine too.
I also like the King's Game of Thimbles video. I watched that again recently. But enough about that. Definitely check out Final Space. It's on TBS as well as some other streaming services, I think. I think you can actually buy it on iTunes right now in its complete form. I'm not entirely sure. Paul, what have you done in the TV movie world this week?
Well, I'm going to preface this with, Brandon, you're a jerk.
What did I do?
You're such a jerk. You're like, hey, it'll be fun when you live alone to sit down and watch a super sad movie and have no one to hug you afterwards. I sat down and I watched In This Corner of the World after you recommended it to us last week. And it's... I had seen Grave of Fireflies before.
I thought you would be prepped for it because of that.
I mean, that movie is like much sadder, and so like,
and like far more intense.
Yeah, it's just like when I watched Grave of the Fireflies, I wasn't living by myself, and so I was able to like at least have another presence around to like help me cheer back up afterwards.
Yeah.
Where this time, like, there's nothing I could do about it. I'm just kind of like stuck. Like,
I can hear it in your voice. You're like still distraught. Like you can't get out of that mindset. Like he entered the black hole and now he doesn't know how to get out. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was just sitting there afterwards. I'm like, well, I guess I'll just hug myself. I mean, it was a phenomenal movie, and I'm really glad that I sat down and watched it. If you are out there and you haven't seen it yet, it's on Netflix. I'm going to preface this with, if you're going to watch it, try not to watch it alone, or at least have someone nearby that'll give you a hug after you're done. That's my addition to the conversation we've had on it so far.
Did we watch Grave of the Fireflies together? I can't remember.
No, I definitely watched that by myself, I think.
Man, it's twofer, Paul.
I know.
Good thing you didn't watch them back to back.
Yeah, I don't think I would have, like... I got done with one, and I wouldn't have been able to watch the second one. I wouldn't have been able to follow up, like, one with the other. I wouldn't do that to myself.
For those of you in the chat who are waiting for the ARMS discussion that's coming later in the show, so stick around. Anything else you watched this week, Paul?
That was it.
Oh, not a lot this week.
Logan, you had a couple more things, right?
Yeah. So I watched an episode of Wild Wild Country. That is a 7-part documentary series on Netflix.
Oh, wow.
I don't really have a ton to say about it, but it's about a cult and about a...
Fun.
Yeah, no, I was like, I heard about it, and I was like, it's about a cult, like, taking over a friggin' like town in Oregon. I'm totally in for that.
How's the Kool-Aid?
You sound like you want to play Far Cry 5.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Like, I've been listening to a lot of gaming podcasts and stuff, and so everybody's talking about Far Cry 5 because it just came out. And the more people talk about it, I'm like not terribly in love with Far Cry, but I've never really played, like really gotten into a Far Cry game before. I've never owned one, but I might have to get Far Cry 5 at some point. If it goes on sale and I can get it for a reasonable price, then I might invest in that because it has me interested. So Wild Wild Country on Netflix. I'll have to say more about it when I actually finish the series. I'd like to finish it. And then I also put Spider-Man Homecoming on here because I yet again have neglected to watch it this week. So
I got really excited when I saw that.
To publicly shame myself. I publicly shame myself for not seeing it. I'm sorry to get your hopes up, but that's where I'm at, and maybe I'll watch it. No, I'm gonna watch it tonight. No, I don't have time tonight. I have D&D after this. I'll watch it tomorrow.
I've got it on 4K Blu-ray. You could watch it when you guys come here if you want.
Okay, I'll wait because I want to watch it on one of that screen. I don't want to watch it on...
Maybe you should come in that Thursday night. We'll watch it. I don't know. We'll find time.
Well, I'm planning on making like I was actually going to ask you, but we'll talk about that later.
Not details
anyway,
of the podcast.
I didn't watch Spider-Man Homecoming.
Something really important happened on Saturday in the anime world, and that was the end of Dragon Ball Super. Man, it's been quite a ride. We're not going to get into plot details. I do have.
It was good.
Yes, I was going to say that. I was a little worried because, I was getting the impression that things were going to be a little rushed, and they were. But that did not stop me from enjoying one of the most incredible fight scenes Dragon Ball has ever offered in its entire history.
I can't wait.
Logan, and you can look forward to that. So we know
really
Dragon
came in
Ball.
hot.
What's that?
Oh, I said like the ending really came in hot.
Yeah, it did. They did some things I wasn't expecting too.
It was going normal, and then like, hey, it's ending. It ended.
Actually, I saw a video on Twitter of in Mexico. There was like this huge group gathered, and they watched the final episode of Dragon Ball Super in a stadium on a projector.
Oh,
and
that sounds
during
fun.
a particular part of the fight, people were just like up in the air and they were cheering. It was really, really fun.
That sounds amazing.
I wish we could have watched it like that. That would have been awesome.
Sounds like a ton of fun.
We got the movie coming.
I had my own Dragon Ball experience.
Ooh, tell us.
This past week. So I had like 4 episodes to catch up on.
And you're in the Goku Black arc.
I am in the Goku Black arc.
Logan has no knowledge beyond this.
Yes. So I think I'm at the point where I can't even remember the Kai's name. He's being prepared to be the Supreme Kai of this one world.
Zamasu.
Zamasu, yeah. And I learned how, at least to a certain degree, how he plays into Goku Black and all this other stuff. So I'm kind of still like, there was more questions asked than there were answered. And I love when that happens. Anytime you're in a show and all of a sudden you're like, I thought I was going to get something, I was going to understand something, but now I just understand less. And that's what I'm at right now.
It was going to make sense. Oh, wait, it doesn't.
So, yeah, they did that, like, one fight, right? Goku and Zamasu. And I was just so cool. And Zamatsu's just got this like look on his face, like, how is this mortal so powerful? Like, what the heck? What's going on? And I was like, oh, things are about to heat up. They introduced his character, and all I could think was like, oh, see, now they're playing with my emotions. They're getting me going. They're tugging some of those philosophical strings. Whether they're going to explore those or not, I don't know, but it's got me interested. This self-important God who's like, oh no, let's just let life, I'm going to kill life. They don't deserve to live, which I thought was interesting because you feel like being a god, you're also like, you're so above like mortals and those that, why would you even like care what happens to them? Like, I got better things to do. I'm a god. I'm going to do godly stuff instead of like really interfering with their life. So I just thought that was really interesting, and seeing how like immature he was as a deity. And they kind of present him, it's like, okay, he's just reckless, and I don't know. It's a part of it's his pride, and then a part of it's like, maybe I don't know, why is it so important that he wipes out and brings peace to, like,
he wasn't hugged enough as a child?
Maybe that's the case.
It's a nice pace for Dragon Ball, which never like delivers those kinds of questions. So I commend the Goku Black arc for doing that. Actually, you made me think about that. I hadn't considered that before. So yeah, is that as far as you got with that like section of episodes?
Yeah. So the last episode that I watched, I'm pretty sure like it ended with Matsu like appearing in the timeline with Goku Black and Goku and Vegeta and Trunks when they went back to the future, right? And then Goku Black messed Goku up, and they're just messing everybody up because it's freaking Goku Black. And of course he's going to be way stronger than anything, because that's how Dragon Ball works. And then Zamatsu appeared, and that was the end of the last episode.
Yeah, things are chugging right along in the dub. Won't be long before you're on that last big boy arc.
Oh boy, I can't wait. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Super.
So I was watching, well, I'm not watching. My wife is watching Inuyasha, and
I was wondering how that possibly ended up on your list.
I'm not watching it myself. She's just watching it, and I was watching it as a byproduct of her watching it. Don't really have anything to say about it other than I like old anime. I don't know, there's something about that hand-drawn, like, classic grainy look that's very appealing.
Watch Trigun.
I hear you, Paul. So that's really all I had to say about Inuyasha. I don't think there was any other anime for me.
I gotta touch back on Black Clover again, because I was watching more of it recently, and I got to a point where I finally got to see the current what is it called? The current Wizard King. That's what it is. And I'm actually starting to enjoy myself now, but I'm more curious as to why isn't this show just following the Wizard King, because he's such a delightful character in like the 2 scenes he's been in, and I'm much more interested in him than any other character. Like, I would take a whole series that is just the Wizard King and like following him, because he doesn't reveal himself as the Wizard King. Like, he transforms his appearance, and he's just kind of like getting involved in people's lives and observing and like protecting behind the scenes. And I love it so much. Like, it's so cool to see like this, nobility coming down to the I think like it's geographically divided by like class, but he's going down to like the commoners section and just watching people and being involved. I love it.
So are you sticking? Are you in now?
I mean, I was definitely going to watch all the way through. I wasn't going to just stop. I was just waiting for something to kind of like actually pique my interest.
Is this like a long form shonen, or what's the deal?
I'm still not sure. I haven't really bothered to look into it since I'm not done with the episodes already available.
So for all you know, you might be on the commitment train right now.
I made it to a second like opening already, so I'm assuming it's in it for the long haul. I'm gonna guess that it probably will like keep the pace of like My Hero and other shows like that.
Yeah.
I will say though that like despite it getting better, I still don't see it kind of working its way up my list above like shows like My Hero and Shokugeki no Soma.
Is this like the Bleach of this generation? Is that what we're thinking?
That's kind of where I'm leaning. Like it's good. It's just not doing as much unique stuff as these other shows, in my opinion.
Like I remember last week when you were explaining the plot. Like, you know, it does, like, obviously it bears a resemblance to, you know, the same shonen plot we've all experienced 1,000 times. But it's, like, specifically Naruto, I was getting vibes.
Yeah. What I would rather them do, like I was talking about, like, following the Wizard King, I'd like to see a shonen less about the main hero from their perspective, but watching them through, like, a teacher's eyes.
Oh, like through the lens of someone else?
Yeah, like if you were watching Naruto from like Kakashi's perspective.
There's an arc about that I keep telling you to watch.
I'll get there eventually, I promise.
But no, I see your point, and based on the fact that, like, you know, I've had a little bit of experience with that because of the Kakashi arc, I can definitely say that it is very refreshing.
I'd rather see that at least just like once. Just once, give me that.
Any other anime this week?
No, sir. I had my fill of Dragon Ball, and then Final Space was my American anime that I watched this week.
Your American anime.
I would have probably I would have gotten through more anime and movies and stuff this week, but segueing, as I think you were about to do, into video games, I spent most of my time trying to beat Persona 5 finally.
And you did.
You didn't beat it? You just tried to beat it?
I tried, and then eventually I did. I've been trying. I've been trying for 2 weeks to beat it.
Persona 5, everybody give Paul a clap for finishing Persona 5. We're very proud of him.
I think I started like this last weekend at 98 hours, and it took me to 118 to beat it. So I couldn't put down my controller until I got done, and it was like really kind of dragging me down because I just wanted to beat it. I just wanted to get to the end of the story so bad, and it just like, here's the end, and as I'm approaching, it's like, nope.
Did you enjoy yourself along the way?
Oh, I definitely did.
That's a big question, because
like
you said like I just want to get to the end. I just want to get to the end. But let's be clear, folks. This is not. I just want to get to the end because it sucks, and I just need to finish it because I paid $60 for it. I
need to get this done now before the next big game comes out and pushes it away from me again. I just wanted to get it done so I can move on to other things.
You get it off your plate, move on with your life.
Exactly. I mean, so often like that's just how I operate, where I have to finish something before I can move on to the next thing. And so having like, I went into this expecting to have like 10 more hours when I had 40.
I did that with Breath of the Wild. I did that with Super Mario Odyssey. So I definitely feel you on that, because if I don't do that, there's a good chance it'll just never happen.
Yeah. I did the same for Breath of the Wild and for Odyssey, as I just kind of like, of course, when I got my Switch, Breath of the Wild was the only game on the Switch. Right. And then so that was pretty easy, but then I also love Zelda, so I was intent on beating it, and then Odyssey came along and I couldn't put that game down. I literally couldn't. But now I'm getting to this point where it's growing and there's games that I'm working on, but then I just need to commit to one game at a time. I have my regulars that I come back that I'm like, I've beaten it, but it's an online multiplayer game, Splatoon, Rocket League, Monster Hunter. But I think right now it's like I've got 2 other games. I got Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which I'm like a fourth of the way through, and then Bloodborne. and I need to but Bloodborne's hard, so I might just finish Mario plus Rabbids and get that done,
I love how
and then finish
nonchalant that
Bloodborne
was. But
afterwards.
Bloodborne's hard.
It's difficult. Like the last few bosses, like I didn't. There is this like boss where it's 3 different like enemies, right? The Shadow of Yharnam, and they all have like different like set of attacks. One's more ranged, one's close up, and then one's mid. And so they're just constantly covering like this amount of area, and so you have to keep dodging and running away and trying to get a hit in or two. And I got really close to beating it on my own, and I probably could have beat it on my own, but I decided to elicit some help, and I got it. And then I moved on to an even more difficult area. So
Yay.
now I'm crying even more. Anyway.
John in the comments, he saying that this is why I have a long unfinished list of games in Steam, and I know his exact problem because that mentality where you have to get through a game before you can move on to the next.
I think my library is like almost 250 games at this point, and then I just bought a new game because it was on sale for like 55% off.
Those Humble Bundles got me from like 100 to like 350 something.
Yeah,
I haven't bought a Humble Bundle in a long time. And like I'm trying to like distance myself, but then sometimes I see a game I want and it pulls me back, but I say no, not this time.
Yeah,
see, all your $15 for the Humble Bundles went to
bundle.
Amiibos.
Yeah. The Humble Bundle
went.
right now is pretty good.
This is the game I'm working on next.
Pikachu.
Now I can read it.
Oh, it focused.
Detective
Nice.
Pikachu. Haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, though.
You will. I believe in you.
It's happening.
But so many games unfinished.
I got a game
And it
this
will
week.
forever be.
So
What game was that, Brandon? What
if you're looking in the video
game have you been
version, I
playing?
got Monopoly Gamer Mario Kart.
That's not a game.
This is a board game.
It
No,
has
it's not.
game
Board game
in
is
the
not a
name.
game.
It's got game in the name, man. What
You're
are
a
you talking
liar.
about?
So I have Monopoly Gamer, the original collector's edition, and bought that on a whim the day it came out at GameStop. Dylan and I were there. Ended up buying this one the day it came out on GameStop. I had a ton of fun with the original Monopoly Gamer. It's a really fun twist on the standard Monopoly gameplay. It like forces a time limit because you can only go around the board so many times before the game just abruptly ends. So it's like fighting to put yourself in the best position before the end comes. So I really like that formula with Monopoly Gamer on the original. So when I saw that this was coming out, I was like, yep, I'm going to buy that because it adds a couple twists to the formula they've already established with the original. So having that different rule set was compelling enough for me to buy the new version of the game.
John
Right.
says hashtag Game Boy or board game connoisseur. I can talk.
Hey man, we like board games on this show.
Yeah.
So responding to Francis in the comments, no, I've not played Sea of Thieves yet. I think I'm going to
Neither
wait
have I.
for a price drop on that. I'd rather play it when I have like a group of friends to do it with, such as the fine gentleman in this chat.
I need a PC.
Yeah, but I want the price to come down a little bit first. There is one guy who has beaten Sea of Thieves, who's like ranked up in all of the areas, and now he's seeing some of that post-game content that Rare was teasing. So like the lid on this game is going to be blown out of the water very shortly, which is kind of disappointing because the way it was done was kind of... Look it up. It's on Kotaku. You'll find out. Anyway, I've not played that yet. Maybe will at some point. Monopoly Gamer. What else did I do? I didn't do a lot of games this week. I just haven't had time, man. I'm going to the gym now. Trying to get swole.
I was just about to say.
Get
that.
swole.
Francis says that it comes with a Game Pass, which is $10 a month.
I'm pretty. Is that? Do they do that for PC or just for Xbox? I'm pretty sure it's just for Xbox, and none of us have Xboxes.
We all, well, me and Paul have Windows 10, but I don't know. I'm not sure. So Kirby Star Allies got DLC this week. They added a lot of things. Rick, Kine, and Koo, Marks, and Gooey as dream friends that you can play as. Rick, Kine, and Koo are all as one character, and different aspects of those 3 characters come out with different attacks. So that's a cool way to do that. They come from my very favorite, like, well, I guess I wouldn't call it my favorite, but it's my first, like, real Kirby game was Kirby's Dream Land 2 on the Game Boy. I have a lot of love for that game because of the way it introduced me to the series. And that's where Rick, Kine, and Koo come from. So to see them back, that's awesome. Marks is the famous final boss from the end of Superstar. Paul, I know you're a big fan of Superstar. We both got Ultra on DS. And I remember Marks being a pretty spectacular end boss. And then Gooey is from Kirby's Dream Land 3, which I have not played. It's just cool, you know, Nintendo doing this free DLC drop thing. They need to do this more. Again, I think it was another Kotaku article pointed out that Nintendo released 5 different DLCs for games this week, all in 1 week. There was Kirby, Fire Emblem, Super Mario Odyssey got surprise DLC, and a couple others that slipping my mind, but that's pretty cool. You know, Nintendo came from a place where this would never happen.
Yeah, Nintendo really jumped on this train of games as a service, and I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier that they are doing this, because it makes me as a consumer, as a Nintendo gamer, like, it gives me so much more value out of what I'm spending. I'm not just spending $60, you know, for a game. I'm spending $60 for a full game and then some.
Remember when?
And it's not like it was an expectation, but thank God.
Remember when they released that surprise hint art for Odyssey, and then we like jumped on immediately and, you know, searched it out. It
was just something small, and it wasn't like anything of consequence, but it was just like a little secret that they're like, "Hey guys, this is in the game," and we're like, "What?"
Yeah, so cool. I love this mindset that they're in. Odyssey got 2 DLC costumes. One is based on the Satellaview, which is awesome. I don't think we got the Satellaview here in North America. Maybe we did, but like basically, for those of you who don't know, the Satellaview was a device that connected to satellite and allowed you to download live updates for video games. So like there's one called BS: The Legend of Zelda, which is for BS being for Satellaview. They would beam out like actual content live. Someone would be over a microphone narrating things, and you would be hearing it over the game. And then they could trigger certain events and basically send you entire games as well. So like BS: The Legend of Zelda is a remake of The Legend of Zelda with voice narration and live events. And this is something that's probably never going to happen again. But think about the time period that this happened in and just how cool of a concept that was for Nintendo. So for them to bring that back with the Super Mario Odyssey costume, there's a really cool callback. And maybe we'll get something like that again soon. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, if we were kids back then, an idea like that would have been mind-blowing. You know? Now it's just like, oh, the internet exists, and that's a thing, so it's not, like, that amazing, but it's like us with VR right now. You know? Logan with VR, because if you ever existed within the Breakdown chat on Facebook, then... I mean, that's only us 3, but obviously I've been freaking out about VR, and the VR that we have is like really baseline, and 5-10 years from now, it's going to be drastically different and better. And so we're going to look back on this like, oh, that was like the VHS, you know, but now we got the Blu-ray or digital media or VR stuff. So, I mean, it's all progressive.
Let's be honest, though. Like the Satellaview, that concept, if it was around when we were kids, our parents would have found some reason to be afraid of it.
Yeah,
the predators will get you.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool thinking about this. Like when we started this conversation, you know, I mentioned that Nintendo came from a place where DLC would never happen. But back in the era of the Super Nintendo, they were like headlining this concept with Satellaview. Sega had their own version of this, of course, but
they would.
And now we're in a week where we get like 5 individual pieces of DLC for Nintendo games, and one of them is based on what might be the original concept of DLC in Nintendo's library. So kind of cool.
Right.
So outside of the DLC, Paul, you and I are undergoing a very special experience right now playing A Way Out.
Trying to escape.
So if you've been subscribed to the channel, and you should if you're not, we started releasing weekly episodes of us playing A Way Out, where we kind of have them all in the bag, so they're ready to go out. We're just kind of drip feeding, but I'm very impressed with this game so far. The concept behind this game is that it's completely two-player. Like you're required to play this with another person. They have local multiplayer, which is great, but you can also do this experience over online, and both players always see the same screen. It's always split screen, regardless of how you play. So Paul and I can see what each other is doing, and kind of experience the narrative from both perspectives. The cool thing about this whole thing is that I bought the game. It was only $30, and then I'm just able to invite Paul to my game, and he can play for free. He doesn't have to own the game to play with me. I
really adore this concept.
It's a bargain, because there's some like AAA stuff going on, like in the presentation and the narrative, and you're getting it at a value. Like, I could imagine paying $60 for this and then giving like another copy to another player, for two-player, but they took the extra step, and it's only $30, and you get to play with anybody you want. So like, I'm not even limited to playing with you, Paul. I could send an invite to Logan, and he could play if he wanted. So great concept there, just great value overall.
As for the thing that gets me the most too is that like, since me and you split the cost of this game, and so for $15, like I can't fight that. There's no way I can say, oh, hey, yeah, I don't want to play this game with you for $15. That's way too expensive. Like, no, the price was right.
So far, I would say that the experience has been well worth the cost. It's an incredibly impressive piece of software. The fact that we're getting both perspectives at all time, meaning it's rendering twice. The game still looks great, and it's very responsive.
Except for them bus tires.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, John, for checking out the video. Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's pulling all that off and it's responsive, I was expecting this to come with a bevy of issues. There's a couple problems, but honestly, it's kind of great.
I mean, this is an experience that I wish, like, I was really upset to see the disappearance of couch co-op, and this actually kind of brings it back in a better format. I mean,
yeah,
we're
in a really like forceful way.
Yeah. I love being able to have that couch co-op experience with someone who's, hundreds of miles away from me, but we're still able to share this experience like we're sitting on the couch together. And I really, really enjoy it. It really takes me back to when I was a kid.
Back when we were little youngins, huddled around a CRT playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
Oh.
I don't think, Paul, you and I don't think we've had like a co-op experience like this since playing like Mario Kart Double Dash.
No. Well, I was gonna say New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I feel like that's the last game we sat down and played like side by side.
Yeah,
so it's been a long time, and I want to see more of this. I really truly enjoy this experience.
So this game is available on PC and PS4.
Please buy it. Let them know that, hey, I like this concept and I want to see it happen more.
Yeah, the developer they made what? Is it Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons? Was that the name of the game?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's also like highly acclaimed. So this developer's got a good track record. The two-player, like I said, it's necessary. So like the actions that Paul and I do, we have to bounce off of each other in order to make things happen. You'll see that in a couple of just the few episodes we have recorded already. So if you've got a friend out there and you want to play a game together and you don't know what to do, try A Way Out, split the cost 50-50. You won't regret it.
Absolutely.
What else have we played this week, gentlemen?
Rocket League.
Yeah, we played a lot of Rocket League.
I didn't even write that down. Yeah, I did too.
I mean, I bought this game. When did I buy this game? Did I buy this game like
last week?
The podcast last week?
Yeah,
I think so.
So yeah, I mean, I've put at least 5 or 6 hours in, especially the day or two afterwards. I just kind of Played a ton of Rocket League, and
You played
I've
like
played
all
a good
day.
amount.
There was like
Yeah,
a
there was
good
one of those
period.
days that I played like all day. I played with my little brother Brandon. You popped on for a bit, and
That was the
played
day
with
Super
Paul.
came out, so I had to like commit some time to that.
Right. Yeah, it's just such a solid game. It's so much fun, especially when you're like doing, standard 3v3 and you have two of your friends on your team and just playing against people online. It's a lot of fun to actually be able to communicate with people and strategize. And even though it does get frustrating and everything gets heated, and you're like, why did you do that? And you're like, I didn't do anything. It's like, no, it's your fault. No, it's your fault. And I mean, you need those experiences in gaming. Otherwise, it's just such a great time. Good times.
On April 3rd, we're actually getting a substantial update with the tournament update, which is going to allow us to create custom tournaments with like codes and stuff, probably pretty similar to the way it works in Mario Kart 8. So that's cool. Nintendo Switch owners are actually getting a little bit more. We're getting a performance update on top of that. So the game currently does not run at 1080p docked. I think it runs at 720p. This update is going to push that to 900p, like Breath of the Wild, and handheld mode is getting the full push to 720p. The other cool thing is that they're actually adding a performance and quality toggle in the video settings. So the quality mode will push it all the way to 1080p. It drops it down to 30 FPS, but you get a lot more like visual effects, depth of field, lens flares, that kind of thing. And that's pretty cool. More games they need to have options like that. I'll probably keep with performance, but I'm sure there's someone out there who'd rather, make it look prettier.
Yeah, I mean, I think this current trend of console games having, at least a few graphics options, and so everybody's like, oh, we want it 60 FPS, oh, we want it 1080p, oh, we want it 4K. Well, give those options to people, and it's like, okay, well, this is what you get. Having those options at least gives you at least some semblance of control of how you play your games. Do you prefer the performance? Do you prefer the lens flares and stuff like that, or do you like the FPS? So having those options is definitely pro consumer, and it's a good thing.
Until we get that performance quality dock that gives us all of it.
Please, Nintendo. Paul, you played one more game this week. Is that right?
I'm not saying it's going now. It is. Yes. And this is actually a fun place to talk about quality. I decided to test out my new computer, Calypso, with Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is, I grew up watching my dad play Tomb Raider 3 on our old computer when I was a kid. And I always just sit there and watch him play for hours. And so I really enjoyed the what's the word, the
series character
reboot of the franchise that they've been doing lately. I can word, guys. So I played the reboot Tomb Raider game, and I absolutely adored that game. Rise of the Tomb Raider so far has just really blown it out of the water. I've been able to play it on high settings, and I think I can bump that up to max. I
could play it on max, so you should definitely be able to.
Yeah. But even on just high, like, that is a beautiful game. Some of the effects they're doing with the snow in the opening is just like mind-blowing to me.
Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff going on in that game. I think that game visually has since been like stood up by Horizon Zero Dawn. Which also has a really cool snow effect, which is very similar to that one. But Rise of the Tomb Raider, man, it made all the right improvements in all the right places. I personally maybe don't think the story's still great, but I also didn't care for it in the first one. But that's just me.
It's something to do.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more exploration in this one. It's a lot more rewarding. You don't find quite as much stuff when you find it. Like, you have to... There's also, they expanded the crafting system. So you don't find as much like crafting materials, but they're different types scattered throughout, so you spend more time looking for it and trying to find exactly what you need. That's led me accidentally into like a lot of different tombs. It's like, oh hey, there's a tomb for me to explore here. I'm just gonna go down this cave with the wolves growling at me. Why am I doing this?
John says, new GoFundMe campaign, help Paul to spoken good.
For just $30 a month, I can get hooked on phonics and learn to talk.
So the newest Tomb Raider game and the last one in, I guess they're calling it the Origin Trilogy, was announced, and that's coming out on your birthday. Is that right?
Yep. It's perfect. Perfect timing. They planned it. They're like, hey, Paul's birthday is a great day to release this game, so we're going to do it.
So I wasn't expecting that game to get announced so soon, but I'm excited. I finished Rise of the Tomb Raider a couple months ago. I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first one. The gameplay is really solid. If you like Uncharted, you're going to like Tomb Raider.
I really like how those games like kind of play out, where it starts off and you're in more of a survival mode, and then as you go on, you kind of slowly become more of a tank.
Yeah.
I always enjoy that in a game. By the end of it, you just feel bad.
This is definitely like about character growth and shaping Lara as a person, both figuratively and literally. So yeah, it's befitting of its name as the Origin Trilogy. I look forward to the next game, and maybe we'll even see that on Switch. Who knows? Excuse me.
Hopefully.
So we have some important stuff to talk about, and it's all speculation. So tomorrow, a decent amount of speculation. Tomorrow is the Nintendo ARMS US and Canada Open Finals. So for the last couple of weeks, you could hop online on ARMS. I wish I'd done this. And you could rank up to be entered into the final round for this US and Canada Open tournament. This is going to be streamed live, I believe, from Nintendo of America headquarters. I'm assuming the Treehouse will probably cover it. We got top 8, so it'll be between 8 fighters. We don't know much about the tournament outside of that. So we're kind of in for just a show tomorrow. Maybe we'll get something cool, and that's what we're here to talk about.
We're totally in for a show tomorrow because we're going to be streaming with it.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to join us for the stream, we're going to get on, we're going to make some commentary, and we're just going to talk about it and how much fun it is. And so please join us for that. We'll be doing that like when do we want to get on? Probably get on like a half hour or something like that before it starts.
You and I can probably...
somebody will be on.
Paul, we don't know yet for sure if you're joining, right?
Yeah, I got quite a bit of stuff to do, so I don't think I will be able to join.
I'll leave it open so that you could join like halfway, if that has to happen.
Okay.
So the main reason we want to talk about this is because a couple weeks ago, Nintendo announced that Super Smash Bros. Was coming out for Nintendo Switch, and I know, Paul, you didn't know that.
What? What?
You didn't disappoint me.
No way.
So they announced Inklings, and that was a brand new IP that Nintendo introduced in last generation. Well, in this generation, they introduced ARMS, a brand new IP. So it is our anticipation that they're going to maybe announce an ARMS character for Super Smash Bros. During the tournament sometime tomorrow. John, I believe it's at 12 p.m. Central Time for the start of that tournament, but we'll be on live before that, so you can join us in the chat there.
Hopefully you got a way to get notifications, because it will tell you.
It will. So I guess I should leave it open to you guys. Do you think that this is going to happen tomorrow?
So I think that if I had to bet on this, I would be much more confident betting on this than I would have betting on the possible appearance of Smash in the last Nintendo Direct. So I was, and I think there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, I think if there's any new Nintendo character other than the Inklings, which have been confirmed, that are going to come to Smash, it is going going to be some ARMS characters, most likely, at the very least, Springman, because he's the face. He's the face. And so, Brandon, you put this a quote from a Polygon article up here, which was an interview with the director of the game, Kosuke
Yabuki.
Kosuke
Yabuki.
I don't Japanese well. But
learning.
obviously, somebody they asked about, hey, is he going to be we're going to have an ARMS character in the next Smash Bros. Because of course they did. How could you not ask about that?
Right.
Because it's the next thought everybody has. And he says, I think the correct reaction is to say, I can't answer that. I actually like how he handled this, because it was very professional.
Very well done.
And then he followed that up with how ARMS is so young, so he doesn't see that, like, oh, that's going to be the case. But I mean, they probably knew about it when they were developing Smash. So they're like, wow, we're making a fighting game, so why not take a fighting character from this fighting game and put it in our largest fighting game in some way, shape, or form. It would be so easy to make an interesting moveset with this character as well. Also, ARMS sold pretty well, and I imagine they want to keep pushing it and want to sell more. It's at like 1.6 million copies sold as of December, and that's pretty good, especially for a fighting game. So I imagine they could push that over 2-3 million, and one of the ways they'll do that is throw in Springman in Smash and making him just a really cool character, like he would be.
In the past, go ahead, Paul.
I was gonna say, I know, like, if there's anything that's gonna push Switch units out there to people, it's gonna be Smash Brothers. And if there's any way to convince them to pick up ARMS after they pick up Smash Brothers, like putting an ARMS character in Smash Brothers and giving these like new Switch owners exposure to these characters, it's probably a good way to pique interest and sell even more copies of it.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree, and we saw that happen a lot with Smash Brothers for Wii U. Specifically with like the DLC characters, like Corrin from Fire Emblem Fates. You know, he came out as a DLC character like alongside Fire Emblem Fates as a cross promotion. I want to say that Toon Link got announced for Smash for Wii U alongside the release of Wind Waker HD. It was close in time to that, I think. So it's not like we haven't seen this happen before. I think it'd be incredibly smart to put ARMS in Smash. Like you said, Logan,
Definitely.
there's the opportunity for a very diverse and unique moveset from this character. And that's always exciting to me as a person who likes to play more competitively. We all do, actually. I want to take a moment to kind of hone in a little closer on what he said in his answer, Kosuke Yabuki.
Yeah.
He said, I think the correct reaction is to say I can't answer that. So we can speculate on this for a little bit. Obviously, someone higher up at Nintendo could have just said, hey, you can't answer that. They're going to ask you. There's also a part of me that says, he's a smart man. They're going to ask him that. He's already got this answer up in his head. I think it's going to happen. I feel like him being so prepared for that tells me that either he knows it's going to happen or it's already happened.
That is such a playful response. So I'm leaning even more after seeing that towards it's happening and he knows it.
Yeah.
I guarantee if it's happening, then he knows it. Because why would you not fill the director in that, you know, this character from that game is going to be in...
We don't know, like, to what length Nintendo, like, reveals this information within their company. Since ARMS is, like, a Nintendo property, technically Sakurai wouldn't have to go to Mr. Yabuki to ask him that. He would have to go to, say, Kimishima and some of the higher-ups and be like, hey, can I do this?
Yeah, but also, why would you not consult the director?
No, I totally understand.
So I think it's very, very likely, more likely than not, that, you know, he would know about this. But I can see what you're saying. I understand that.
We've seen Mr. Yabuki on stage Remember the ARMS tournament from last E3? After the finalist had won the tournament, he went on stage and he kicked his butt. He beat him. So this guy knows what he's talking about. So I don't think it's entirely out of the realm of the possibility that he would collaborate with Sakurai on how to develop this character for Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
I feel like even his follow-up is like so playful. Another thing I'd say, another thing I would say if asked about this, along with the correct
in the
reaction
hypothetical situation that you asked me this question, this is what I would say.
I wonder how at this point Yabuki would fare against like the best ARMS player. You know what I mean?
Maybe he'll come out on stage again. We don't know. Well,
that would be that'd be an interesting contrast to get his butt kicked.
This probably
by
won't
someone
be
who's
on
been
stage
playing
this time. I'm guessing if it's happening at Nintendo.
Right.
We'll find out tomorrow, but I definitely would expect Mr. Yabuki to show up because he did appear on Nintendo Minute this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's in North America.
Guys.
But here's another thing is like, Nintendo wants to push ARMS and Nintendo wants to put Smash, right? And so here's another reason where I think they might do it is the fact that it's like a mutually beneficial like announcement, right? So if anybody's anticipating that a Smash character is going to be announced with it, they might just watch it for that, and then they might just get into ARMS. But at the same time, if people come for ARMS, all of a sudden they already have a big audience, and if they announce Springman for Smash, well, that's that many more people who are going to be tweeting frickin' Springman and Smash, and all of a sudden Smash is all over the news again, and people can't ignore it. Like, okay, we got the Smash trailer and it's dying down. Okay, new Smash character, and then there's another tidal wave until a little bit longer, and then we already know there's a Smash tournament coming at E3, so maybe this will carry it over the next 2 months until we get to that point and get a few more announcements.
I'm going to throw a curveball in here.
Do it.
I don't think they're going to show a ARMS character for Smash Brother. They're going to show an ARMS character. Let me finish. Let me finish.
You can't do this.
They're going to show an ARMS character for Mario Kart 9.
I knew that's what you were going to say. I knew it.
Stop! No, you can't do this. Paul, get out of here. You're banned from the Breaker Arcade. You have to leave. There's the door. There's the door.
Without Paul, this podcast doesn't go online. So
yeah, whatever. I'll figure out how to do it. I'll figure it out.
I'm trying to bring some life to this. I'm trying to turn this into a conversation instead of an agreement.
You're trying to murder our dreams. That's what you're trying to do.
I'm sorry that I want Mario Kart 9. Okay.
I also want Mario Kart 9. I like Paul. I do think we need to play devil's advocate here and talk about why there's a possibility that this won't happen. One, which I think is why are we yelling? One is that throw me off my game. Is that Nintendo has not really been talking about this a whole lot. They announced it at the Nintendo Direct, and it's kind of just been quiet since then. They just released the top 8 to little to no buzz today in preparation for tomorrow's stream. So one day before, instead of like doing a week ahead of time and doing that hype up video that they did for Smash a couple years ago. So Nintendo's being very quiet. They're not saying a whole lot. They're not drumming up expectations or hype for this thing. And because of that, the only people you could really expect to be watching the stream, like Logan, you said, are ARMS fans. Does Nintendo limit this reveal to just an audience of ARMS fans rather than releasing it in like a Nintendo Direct?
Mm-hmm.
What? I mean, the thing with that would be...
I'm going to play devil's advocate to my that devil's point, advocate. Because maybe they're setting a standard. Maybe they don't want to have to say every time that like, hey, we want everybody to watch this. But if they throw a little something in there and then everybody hears about it afterwards,
okay.
Oh crap! I should have watched the
That's
ARMS
exactly what I was going to say. Is if they show it without,
right? So for
then you're never gonna wanna
every
miss it.
tournament they
Right.
have, Nintendo has now, it's like, well, people are watching it not just because they want to watch the game, or not just because, like, whatever. They might want to watch it because, well, Nintendo's taking these things seriously, and they want people to draw them in, but they also don't want to have to, like, put it everybody's face, because when it says everybody's face, everybody's like, get out of here. But then once they're like, okay, we're just gonna let everybody know about it, so everybody who wants to know about it knows about it, and then all of a sudden everybody else wants to know about it because this Smash character got announced, all of a sudden that's just great viral marketing.
Yeah,
the internet's like a totally different beast. So
what will they do next?
What do you think about that?
well, I
think they're gonna
you guys are already
freaking
like
take over the world.
you're making good points already, because a couple months ago we had that Nintendo Direct Mini, which we all anticipated was going to be a full-blown Nintendo Direct because of the playfulness that they were having on Twitter with Chibi Robo on fire and all the other companies jumping in, and it was a madhouse on Twitter that day, and we were all like really involved and like indulging in the moment. It was a lot of fun. And then Nintendo just released a Nintendo Direct Mini instead. And obviously the internet wasn't completely kind to that. And then a few weeks later, we got a full Nintendo Direct.
I think they're doing a good job of keeping us on our toes, because like you go into that Direct where they announce Smash Brothers, and you're so convinced that they're not going to because of that Direct Mini.
Exactly.
Yeah, if they keep subverting expectations, we can't have expectations, which makes literally any of these events like a lot of fun because we don't know what's gonna happen. So maybe they don't announce an ARMS character for Smash, but maybe there's some other surprises, and I'd be surprised if there weren't extra announcements during or after this.
Maybe ARMS is finally going to get
that
story DLC I've been hoping for.
Yeah, we could get. Yeah, that'd be another big one if they didn't, do what we all want them to do.
They had said like that they were done with content for ARMS, and then not too long ago we got another update for ARMS. It's like, what are you guys actually doing? Well,
I think it might be the case. I mean, they didn't announce like paid DLC for Splatoon until like
the freemium stuff was recently done. Yeah,
right. The freemium stuff was like, okay, we're almost done, and we promised all this stuff, but it's like, once the DLC is done, okay, well, maybe that's less of there's no more content and more like, okay, maybe we're getting the paid DLC now. So that's another thing I could see, is I could see like, oh, here's some ARMS paid DLC. We keep the game going.
What if we get more people into it now after this? ARMS crossover content?
I'd be into that.
That'd be cool. What do you suggest?
I have no idea how that would work.
Content like in ARMS, or
I was trying to think how like how weapons would work if you like gave those spring powered arms into Splatoon, or it doesn't really work vice versa. You can't really put.
They just put a gun on like a splatter shot on the end of some like.
Actually, that could work.
I could see at the very least getting like Splatoon hair wigs in ARMS and like costume swaps.
Oh, costumes in ARMS, that would be great because the character designs are already incredibly good in ARMS.
What's the case with ARMS and costumes currently?
It's just color swaps. That's all you have.
It's just color swaps. Okay. So yeah, that'd be cool. Like maybe it's like, okay, here's some free DLC. Okay, you get to have all these costumes and stuff. And then also here's some paid DLC.
Last time, I think it was the last time you were here, Paul. You and I talked at arm's length about costumes being in like Super Smash Brothers. So I could totally see that happening here with ARMS. I don't, anticipate it, but if it did, I'd be all over that. So maybe say Smash Brothers doesn't get any news tomorrow for ARMS or at all.
Should though.
It should. It really should. But
it really should.
If ARMS actually gets some kind of update or some kind of announcement tomorrow, I'll be satisfied with that as well. If nothing happens tomorrow, I'll still be satisfied because they have not set up expectations for this. They have not put us in the mindset that something's going to happen tomorrow. All of this is just pure speculation on our part. So
it just makes sense.
It does make sense because we're 2 months away from E3 with the Super Smash Brothers tournament, and they've only announced one character. Well, two if you count Breath of the Wild Link, but they didn't even give us like the full reveal. They teased us.
We don't even know if Mario's in the game.
They have to talk about Smash before E3. I'd be shocked if they didn't, because that tournament is the day before the E3 presentation. That would mean that we would go into that tournament having not seen anything, knowing nothing about Smash Brothers.
Can you imagine how awesome that would kind of be, though?
It'd be awesome on one hand. A lot of people would like be there to watch that, but that's so crazy at the same time.
Yeah, I think now again, I don't know all the ins and outs of marketing or anything like that, but I feel like this is a good time to announce the next character, and really make a big deal out of this tournament. Because the more that Nintendo can hype up their tournaments, the more people are going to take them seriously, and it seems like they're increasing in frequency as well.
Yeah,
for sure. And they get more exciting each time because people are like, "Oh my god, I want to do all this stuff." So I think this is a perfect opportunity to reveal that. Please, smash. I think smash. Just keep breathing smash into the universe. Smash.
I think at the very least we'll see at least 2 more like Smash announcements before we get to E3. This last Direct was what, 3 weeks ago now?
It was the 8th. Yeah.
Wait, they announced Smash Brothers?
It makes sense to talk about Smash here. It makes sense to talk about Smash at this point in time. It needs to happen a couple more times before we get to E3. And, we talked about Mr. Yabuki's quote. These are the reasons that we think that Smash Brothers might get some kind of mention tomorrow. But here's what I'd say. Don't go in with any expectations. Think of the possibility that an ARMS character could be announced tomorrow during the tournament. But watch the tournament tomorrow for the sake of having fun watching the tournament.
Right.
Don't be that guy in the chat just spamming Smash over and over again.
I mean, I think it's a good time to mention that ARMS is a good game. And so a tournament for it will be awesome, and you should just watch it for that.
The tournament from E3 last year, I watched that, and I had a blast. Especially, like I said, watching Mr. Yabuki get on stage and beat the grand finalists.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely looking forward to actually watching the tournament. But that being said, I am...
There's that little inkling of hype in your back,
right? It's like, oh my gosh, what if? So I was just, and then you let your imagination run wild, and then it's really fun until you get really disappointed when it doesn't happen. So I'm gonna ruin everybody's day tomorrow by saying this right now. Here's what I think is gonna happen.
Here he comes.
They're gonna reveal Springman. He's gonna be there, and everybody's gonna be expecting. It's like, oh. Okay, and they're very upfront. Here's Smash.
Wait. Here's
Springman, guys.
I have something to add to that, Logan. They're not going to announce Springman alone. Springman will be alongside Ribbon Girl. There's no way that's not happening.
Okay. Yes, I think you're right. I think you're right. But on top of that, they won't just reveal Springman and Ribbon Girl. They're going to announce a returning character that was missing from the last game. They're going to be fighting each other, and then all of a sudden, 2 other characters are going to show up. But those 2 other characters are actually just one character. It's going to be the Ice Climbers. They're coming back. They're coming back full force for Super Smash Bros. Switch. And they're going to be like, oh my god. And then they're going to be fighting separately. And that's just how they're going to present it. But then it's like, oh, Ice Climbers.
Duck Hunt Dog is 3 characters in one, Paul.
Give us that new character and give us that returning character, because like if they do reveal it as like Springman and Ribbon Girl, you got 2, and then all you got what are their names? What are the Ice Climbers?
Popo and Nana.
Yeah, Popo and Nana, right? And then all of a sudden they're fighting Popo and Nana. It's perfect. It's flawless.
As much as I want that to happen. I don't think this is the time for Ice Climbers. I think Ice Climbers is an E3 announcement. For whatever reason, I feel like that drums up just a ton of hype on its own. even though it's a veteran.
No,
not by themselves.
We'll get some like really new characters at E3.
No, I
agree. We need one big returning character.
It's gonna. Go ahead, Paul.
I think you're right, Brandon. I think Ice Climbers would be an E3 thing, just because it symbolizes the return of like the returning roster. They're the one thing that was really missing from Smash for Wii U. If they should announce that, then to me it's like, oh hey, the gang's all there already. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, while I do think this is an
You guys smell
E3 thing
that?
for Ice Climbers, Logan,
Do you smell that?
I do think,
I smell lies. What I smell.
Logan, the scenario that you just presented to us, I think is still the way that the Ice Climbers will be revealed. I just feel like they will be revealed with a new character that's not revealed until E3. That's what I think. I feel like you add Ice Climbers in Goku. If you add Ice Climbers into the announcement of a character that we're not expecting, that drums up hype. Man, you're dead set on these climbers.
I'll take your wager. I'll take your wager. Somebody get over here. I'm taking his wager. I want to witness. This is gonna happen.
The perfect announcement would be revealing Ice Climbers when you reveal Goku.
The perfect reveal is just revealing Goku. Yeah. So let me get
the light detecting schnauzer. Good one, John.
So there's 3 of us here. Let's come to a vote. Do I think an ARMS character is going to be revealed tomorrow? I'm going to say no.
I can't vote for that.
Logan, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with a hard yes.
And
I'm gonna go with a hard yes because I think it's happening because I am willing it. I am willing it into the universe right now. And Mr. Yabuki is like looking over at Sakurai. Hey, Sakurai, I think it's time. And Sakurai's like,
he just nods.
I think you're right.
Cool.
I think you're right. Here, I have the Smash logo. You can take this. And go ahead and go give it to Springman because we need him.
Sakurai's cool. He just nods. He's like. So what we're voting if they're going to reveal a character tomorrow, or if they're revealing Ice Climber specifically.
An ARMS character.
An ARMS character.
I'm voting yeah.
Dang, we're two out of 3 saying yes. That there's going to be an ARMS character tomorrow.
It's going to happen. We just made it happen, Paul.
I mean,
we did that.
Wait,
We did that.
Somebody get on Twitter. Ask Andre. Ask Andre. He was the one guy saying Smash was going to be announced at that Direct, and it happened.
I'm just saying, like, they have to reveal an ARMS character because it's an ARMS tournament. If there's no ARMS characters there, then there's a problem.
You make points, Paul.
I try.
I guess, I mean, there's a couple questions, additionally we could ask, like, why have this tournament knowing that Smash is coming and then not seizing the opportunity? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
There's one more point, though, that I'm going to, that I forgot to mention that I think is leaning towards a no. And that's the fact that this is the US and Canada Open. No Japan. I feel like Japan is an important part of this equation.
Yeah.
But that's just me being a little negative Nancy. I want this to happen. I really do. I just think I don't want to get my hopes up. Maybe that's why I'm saying no.
Let me alter, at the very least, if they don't reveal them for Smash, I feel like there will be some ARMS update. There should be something here.
There will be some kind of something happening tomorrow.
Yeah, something will happen tomorrow. Confirmed. You're here first, folks.
So for those of you who want to get in on the action tomorrow, we will be streaming the tournament here, commentating over it, and just hanging out and having a good time. That's the important thing. We're also streaming just in case they do announce a Smash character, and we can be there when it happens.
Heck yeah. Oh, you mean, wait, when it happens? When it happens?
I'm sorry, when it happens. So if you want to get in on the fun, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, tell us what you want to happen tomorrow. If you think it's going to happen tomorrow, let us know in the comments below. Come back to the channel. Logan, do you want to go live at like 11:30?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Drum up like a half hour beforehand?
Heck yeah, dude.
Okay, so join us here at 11:30 p.m. Central Time, and we'll get ready for that super special arms tournament at noon. I want to thank you guys for watching and listening to the Breakdown podcast. If you're listening to this on the podcast apps, the arms tournament has already taken place, and you're probably yelling at us for how wrong we were about there not being an arms character at the tournament.
Oh, what? What?
Find us on social
yelling
media.
At us
Tell
and
us if
being
we were
like,
right.
"Wow, I can't believe Logan was so right. Logan was so right about Springman and the Ice Climbers."
Tell us about how unpredictably right I was about Mario Kart 9.
Okay. And yes, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. Like I said, if you're listening to the podcast version on your favorite podcast app, we're on all of them. Follow us on social media and tell us if we were right.
John says, the best podcast on the internet.
Oh,
that is a quote directly
We're really
from
trying.
John.
Thank you so much.
We're really
words in his
trying,
mouth.
John. We try because you show up.
If you
That's
think
why
that,
we tried.
if you think that, leave a like
because
on
you
the
show up.
video. Rate us on the podcast apps. We really need the help with that right now. That really drives us forward in the search results, and we need as much help as we can get. So if you can do that, that'd be awesome. Join us next Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central Time for the next live broadcast of the Breakdown podcast. Look back at the videos we've released this week and look forward to the videos we're releasing next week. We've got some Smash Brothers content coming your way. Paul, you've got your Celeste review that you're doing. You also got an unboxing video coming out.
Yep. So look forward to that. Also, go to our website. I don't think you mentioned this one yet. Go down to the bottom of the page. You will find a button to join our Discord server. Whether you want to talk to us there or on Twitter, I am always open for recommendations for good games, movies, TV, anime, and I want to hear from you. I absolutely do. Recommend me something, and hopefully I can get around to watching it eventually. It's always a matter of time, but then you can hear us talk about it on this show.
So follow us on Twitter. I'm at BabaBabs. You can find Logan at LoggyDubs. You can find Paul at Gunnysaurus. If you want to talk to us as a collective on Twitter, you can find us at Breakroom Arcade, as well as on Facebook and your favorite social media platforms. Like Paul said, find us on Discord. Get in the chat. Talk to us. Tell us what you're feeling. Anything else we need to mention before we close, boys?
Andre replied to me on Twitter.
Wait, what did he say? Live on the show. What happened?
So I just messaged and I go, Andre Seegers, at Gunnysaurus, which is Paul, and I think that Springman will be revealed for Smash tomorrow. Can you tell at Babs that he's wrong for thinking he won't be revealed tomorrow? And he just replies, I like, this is so funny because it's just, what? W-U-T. Just what?
Does Andre even remember that there's a tournament tomorrow?
I don't know, but I'm responding right now. So if you want to go see that, you can follow us all on Twitter. And see all the shenanigans that happen on there because I'm on there all the time.
Man.
Also, Smash Brothers was announced for the Switch, so
Smash Brothers was announced for Nintendo Switch.
I hadn't mentioned that in like the last 5 minutes, so I just wanted to remind everyone out there.
So with that, don't break your backs, break in the games, but for now, break time's over.